Surrogacy is a word that has been around for 10 to 12 years. But long before surrogacy, we had the traditional African kind of surrogacy where a woman couldn't have a child and she married someone and had children through her husband. Today we're going to be talking about surrogate motherhood, or like they say in the advanced countries, they call it gestation hosts. The UD Factor is a program that understands that knowledge is power. So we're going to empower you with information on surrogacy. And you'll get to meet my guest, and that is if you do not go anywhere. This is the UD Factor. You're welcome. We're back. My guest today is Professor Oladapo Ashiru, the Medical Director, Medical Arts Center, and one half of the pioneers of IVF in Nigeria. Prof, thank you for always honoring our invitation.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes. We want to talk about surrogacy. I know that surrogate is someone who chooses to do something for the other person. And surrogate motherhood is on the rise. What really is surrogate mother?
Good question. The technique of in vitro fertilization, as you realize, became popular from 1978 with the birth of Louis Brown.
Yes.
Following that birth, then different countries took it as a challenge to be able to replicate what happened in England.
Yes.
So that was how test tube baby became available in different countries, and Nigeria became a member of that club by 1989. As a matter of fact, among the first few countries in the world to be part of that entity. Now, since then, the techniques have been used for several other things. And the first thing that it was used for is the recognition and the realization that if you had to transfer the embryo and you can grow it in the lab, and you transfer that embryo into the mother, then you can transfer it to any other uterus. So it was first in Italy. A woman had cardiac problem, and could not have a baby, but had eggs, and the husband also very fertile. So the mother chose to carry that baby for her. So the mother's uterus was prepared like we prepare the uterus to receive an embryo.
Yes.
And so the husband brought the sperm, and the woman was stimulated, and the eggs was removed from the woman, fertilized in the lab like the typical test tube baby, and transferred into the mother. And she successfully carried it. She was about 62 years old. It's also been done significantly in large cases in the UK, in the USA. The first time it was done in the USA, the gestational host that we call the surrogate mother refused to turn over the baby at the end of 9 months. And then it became a case and went all the way to Supreme Court, and it was declared that the biological mother is the rightful owner of that baby.
That is where the egg came from, the biological mother.
Absolutely. And since then, it has been used all over the world. And last year in Geneva, the WHO called a team of experts. About 50 of us were gathered from the American Society for Reproductive Medicine, the Federation International of Gynecologists, the European Society for Reproduction, African Fertility Society, and the Asian Pacific Society. Basically, all the fertility groups
Yes.
globally to decide on regulations for most of these cases. And it was accepted indeed and in truth that surrogate motherhood can be used for people who want to carry a child but are unable to carry it, maybe because there is a problem in their uterus, maybe it's been blocked by several fibroids, or because they have some medical conditions like renal pathology or cardiac pathology that will compromise their life
If they carry.
going through that pregnancy. So if they can, they've been able to do this. And in Nigeria too, I'm happy to say that several babies have been born to families who would not have been able to carry those children through this technique.
Things in Nigeria can be a bit complicated. How do you go about choosing the surrogate mother? Or is it the hosts who actually bring people? Or do they come asking you to help them choose a surrogate mother? Because, you know, in Nigeria, you might have that baby, somebody might carry the baby for you, and the next thing, the story is on the streets. And Nigeria being very secretive people when it comes to issues like that.
Yes.
So how is surrogate motherhood?
The way we do it is very simple.
Yes.
First of all, some couples, they bring their host.
Okay.
They bring somebody to carry for them, maybe a relation. But the others ask the center to look for a host for them. Now, what are the criteria for being a host?
Hold that thought, Prof. Hold that thought, Prof. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. You're welcome back. If you're just joining us, the topic is surrogacy, or surrogate mother. And my guest is still Professor Oladapo Ashiru, the Medical Director, Medical Arts Center, and the co-pioneer of IVF in Nigeria. Yeah, Prof, you were talking about the criteria in choosing a surrogate mother.
Yes. We have quite a lot of people who are willing to do this, to carry this.
Do they carry it free or they are paid?
Some carry it for free because they just want to help, and some are given compensation. And usually, to be eligible to be a host, a carrier of a baby for the biological mother, you must have had at least 1 or 2 children before.
So you don't get attached and take somebody's child. Okay.
So the issue is not that you want a baby. And then you must qualify through a lot of very strict questionnaire and evaluation. And these include psychological stability. It includes your physical and medical pass, and you have to pass a medical and physical test so that your cardiac function, your renal function, and your physiology is in good order. And then there must be that willingness. You must show that empathy for the couple that's looking for that child. And once you fulfill all those criteria, then you are registered to be a host. And then what we then do is to do all the tests to make sure that there is no infection, especially the STD infection or HIV. So once you are clear of those things, then you wait for about 6 months.
Why?
To make sure that nothing comes in that process. Once that is so, we then tell the couple that your host is ready. And then what we do, they also go through evaluations, and they also will be certified ready to be able to treat that baby properly. There is a contract.
Okay. That is on the surrogacy.
Made. Yes, on the surrogacy.
Yes.
Between the clinic, and we have a lawyer for that purpose.
Oh, really?
The couple, the biological parents, they also have their lawyer. and the host. They have the
It's a real
so
contract.
we have an agreement, which is a tripartite agreement between the clinic, the surrogate, and the couple. And that the surrogate agrees to follow all those things that I've explained.
Yes.
To follow good hygiene, good medical and physical process during the gestational period.
Yes.
During the first period, no intercourse that can create problem.
So if it's somebody who's already had children, who is the gestation host, she cannot meet with her husband.
Not during the first 12 weeks of the pregnancy, because that can cause a miscarriage. So that is, they have to sign to that, and they have to sign to relinquish the baby at the end of the.
What if somebody brings her sister or her mother? Do they still go through signing all those contracts? What if it's the biological parents who bring the somebody?
Yes, even though they do that, we still encourage them
to
sign this agreement so that 9 months down the line,
there won't be trouble.
There's a legal backing from each side to advise them that, well, you signed this thing, so you have to go through it, and that there are precedents that you can't win if you
decide to go.
So we do that to back it up, and that makes it stress-free for everybody. So we get the sperm from the husband, then the woman is stimulated like we're going through IVF, which you have described properly before in your program.
Yes.
So once we take the eggs from the woman, we fertilize it with the husband's sperm. We grow the embryo for about 3 or 5 days in the lab.
Just like the IVF process we did.
Excellently. As that is going on, the host, the surrogate mother-to-be, will be given some medications, some injections and some medication to prepare the uterus, which is actually what we need from her. The uterus to be able to get ready
to carry
to take that embryo. So on that day, she comes in, we take the embryo and put it into her for implantation.
When she gets pregnant?
Once she gets pregnant, we tell them
that she's pregnant.
And that is the beginning of happiness
for the other family.
So
the host now, the gestation host,
yes.
Where does she stay? Does she go back to her home, or does she go live with the...
It is an anonymous process, usually. Some people, a few couples in the past have seen this host and interacted with them. When they come to the clinic, they bring provisions for them, and then they work with them. But that is one possibility. But the other possibility is that the host
will never
they don't want to.
They never get to meet.
Yes. So but they give them support, nutritional, dietary support through the clinic.
Through the clinic.
They get this to the surrogate. And the surrogate comes to the clinic and goes through antenatal care. When she's about 3, 4, 5 months, some of them like to relocate from the environment they are.
So that people don't get to see them with the pregnancy.
Yes.
So that when they now come back without the baby.
Yes. But they must come to the clinic every month.
So the biological parents.
Yes.
When
they are just in their house.
Yes, they don't get to know where she relocates to, or they don't get to know where they
don't get that. But what they get every time the host comes to the clinic is an ultrasound report of the progress report, of the development of the baby.
Okay.
So they have some attachment to what is coming on.
What is going on.
Yes.
Okay. On the day the gestation host now comes to give birth,
yes,
are the biological parents present in that environment, or what?
What we do is that because our center has a maternity unit attached, they are both admitted.
That is the gestation host and the biological mother.
Yes.
But they won't know
They
themselves.
don't know themselves. And then and this is not delivered through, we don't, usually globally, all over the world, you don't do this by vaginal delivery.
Whoa.
Because it is the vaginal delivery and all that that gets a lot more attention to the host. So, at the appropriate time, a low-line cesarean section is done. In other words, with plastic covering. So, and it's done not with general anesthesia, it's done with epidural anesthesia. That way, the host is not in danger, and the baby is not in danger, because this is a foolproof technique. Everything must come out, zero tolerance for any mortality, neither the host or the baby.
Nothing should happen to.
Yes. So the baby is delivered, given a lot of what we call routine first aid at that time, pediatric care, neonatal care, and taken to the neonatal unit.
At this point, the biological mother has not seen the baby yet.
She hasn't seen it,
but she knows what is
that
going on.
something is coming up. And then the host is covered up from surgery and left in the recovery room to recover. Okay? And the biological mother at that time is shown
the baby.
Her baby.
For the first time.
And you could see.
Hold the thought, Prof. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. We are back, and if you're just joining us, we are talking about surrogacy, surrogate motherhood. And before we went on break, Professor Shiru was just talking to us about when the surrogate mother finally gives birth and when the biological mother gets to see the baby for the first time. Yes, Prof.
Yeah, you could see that level of joy, extreme happiness from the couple. And they radiate with joy and thankfulness to the Almighty. And we, the actors too, are grateful that we have been permitted to give such comfort and happiness to families like that.
At this point, what happens to
what happens to the host? The host recovers because it's an advanced level of cesarean section where the host can walk within 24 hours.
And walk straight?
Yes, within the hour. But she recovers in her room, and if there's compensation due to her, then she gets that compensation, she gets that alert in her bank.
Before she leaves the hospital. So at the end, the lady gets her alert.
Absolutely.
And then there's her one moves. Okay.
Yes, and that is a satisfaction to her. Because some of the couples, they are so overjoyed that they
overcompensate.
Yes. And when they see, and in fact, some of these people, the husband and the wife come for it. So the husband is going with the
wife along with everything.
With the gestational host. That is, the husband of the gestational host is supporting her to do this process.
Gestational host, do they get emotional when they, at any point, I mean, do they feel any tinge of emotion when they now come around and the baby they have carried for 9 months is not there? Have you ever seen any tinge of emotion?
No, I've never seen that. I think, if anything at all, they are also grateful because we've done a lot of counseling before it, that you are giving somebody an opportunity to have what you have had before. And in fact, if anything, I hope they are okay. I hope the baby is okay. So they are also, because they are counseled not to take any anything that can be harmful to the baby during that pregnancy. They can't take alcohol. They cannot smoke, you know. So these are things they've done. They've taken care of that baby, and they are just happy that they've done that, and they've been compensated.
If, for instance, any of these cases with all the things like sickle cell, things like family balancing, if families come and they say, okay, we want a boy, we want a girl, or maybe there's a possibility of Down syndrome, there's a possibility of sickle cell, what do you do?
In this type of situation,
Yes.
the technology of in vitro fertilization
Yes.
have been expanded to a new technique called pre-implantation genetic testing.
Pre-implantation genetic testing.
That is the new term.
Yes.
Originally, we were calling it pre-implantation genetic diagnosis.
Okay.
But what we're actually doing, we are testing those embryos to see what they are made of, their genetic composition.
Yeah.
And the technique is equally available with us now in Nigeria.
Okay. So
And,
what does it do?
One is happy to be one of the, and again, a pioneer in this field in this country. What we do in pre-implantation genetic testing
Yes.
is that
How is it abbreviated?
PGD,
PGD.
that was the original
PGD.
term. Yeah,
before.
and
Now
then
it's
PGT.
PGT.
T.
Pre-implantation genetic testing.
Testing.
Okay.
Of that. What we do is that when in IVF you are taking embryos into the woman,
Yes.
and then she's having a baby.
Yes.
Those embryos,
Yeah.
each embryo has on day 3 8 cells. By day 5, it has divided and multiplied to about 144 cells.
144 cells.
Yes.
Prof, we'll leave it here for now. We can't finish all this in this one episode, but you will join us for part 2 of surrogacy and pre-implantation genetic testing.
Good.
Thank you very much, Prof. It's always an honor to have you.
It's a pleasure.
Viewers, I thank you for your time. I am dumbfounded and speechless. You've learned a lot now about surrogacy. You've learned new words like the gestation host. And now we know what surrogacy is all about. And I thank God for giving doctors the wisdom to do what they are doing today. So, now that you have this information at your fingertips, women who are expecting children, men who have low sperm count, who are expecting children, you have enough information to use, and you're free to use it. Until I come your way another time, God bless you, goodbye, and this is my factor. See you again next week.